that I don't believe in. Keep shifting the paradigm, got a whole new side, and my ego is the reason. My mind is a weapon, and my body is the battlefield, and I know my soul's intentions to know what is, to know what's real. Oh, I don't need armor, I'm more than brave, yeah. Gotta go hard, I will not be a slave. Oh, head above water, so many ways. I am not son or daughter, no label, no name. Oh, I'll never run out of time, never run out of light, something that I don't believe in. Keep shifting the paradigm, got a whole new side, and my ego is the reason. My mind is a weapon, and my body is the battlefield, and I know my soul's intentions to know what is, to know what's real. Oh, I don't need armor, I'm more than brave, yeah. Gotta go hard, I will not be a slave. Oh, head above water, so many ways. I am not son or daughter, no label, no name. Oh, I'll never run out of time, never run out of light, something that I don't believe in. Keep shifting the paradigm, got a whole new side, and my ego is the reason. My mind is a weapon, and my body is the battlefield, and I know my soul's intentions to know what is, to know what's real. Oh, I don't need armor, I'm more than brave, yeah. Gotta go hard, I will not be a slave. Oh, head above water, so many ways. I am not son or daughter, no label, no name. Oh, I'll never run out of time, never run out of light, something that I don't believe in. Keep shifting the paradigm, got a whole new side, and my ego is the reason. My mind is a weapon, and my body is the battlefield, and I know my soul's intentions to know what is, to know what's real. Oh, I don't need armor, I'm more than brave, yeah. Gotta go hard, I will not be a slave. Oh, head above water, so many ways. I am not son or daughter, no label, no name. Oh, I'll never run out of time, never run out of light, something that I don't believe in. Keep shifting the paradigm, got a whole new side, and my ego is the reason. My mind is a weapon, and my body is the battlefield, and I know my soul's intentions to know what is, to know what's real. Oh, I don't need armor, I'm more than brave, yeah. Gotta go hard, I will not be a slave. Oh, head above water, so many ways. I am not son or daughter, no label, no name. Oh, I'll never run out of time, never run out of light, something that I don't believe in. Keep shifting the paradigm, got a whole new side, and my ego is the reason. My mind is a weapon, and my body is the battlefield, and I know my soul's intentions to know what is, to know what's real. Oh, I don't need armor, I'm more than brave, yeah. Gotta go hard, I will not be a slave. Oh, head above water, so many ways. I am not son or daughter, no label, no name. Oh, I'll never run out of time, never run out of light, something that I don't believe in. Keep shifting the paradigm, got a whole new side, and my ego is the reason. My mind is a weapon, and my body is the battlefield, and I know my soul's intentions to know what is, to know what's real. Oh, I don't need armor, I'm more than brave, yeah. Gotta go hard, I will not be a slave. Oh, head above water, so many ways. I am not son or daughter. Night, something that I don't believe in. Keep shifting up
All
out of
right.
time.
Shalom,
Not a whole
Yashara,
new side, and my
Yabra,
ego is the reason. My mind is a weapon, and my
Let me
body
turn this
is
down
the
real quick, man. I
battlefield.
just
And
think this
I
is
know my
so
soul's
beautiful, man.
intelligence to know what is to know.
Isaiah.
Uh-oh.
I'll never run
My
out
bad.
of
Let me get
time,
this
never
link
run out of
and let me
night, something
share
that
it
I don't
with you.
believe in.
All
Keep
right, so
shifting up paradigm, got a whole new side, and my
okay.
ego is the
Take this over here.
reason.
I'm gonna put it
My
over here.
mind is
I let it
a
play for a
weapon, and my
second. You know
body
what I'm saying?
is the
So y'all should have been able to
battlefield.
hear
And
it,
I
but it's
know
so
my soul's
fire.
intelligence to know
All right.
what is
So
to know what's real.
I got a couple links. Put a 7 in the room if you can hear me okay. If I can be heard, put a 7 in the
I'm more
room.
than brave,
All right.
yeah.
I got a
Gotta go
couple images that I
hard.
want to share with
I
y'all
will
today
not
too.
be
All right.
slave.
So the words
Head
of the
above
sister saying
water.
is fire.
So many ways. I am not son or
Go ahead and copy
daughter.
that.
No label, no
I'm
name.
gonna close that.
I'll never run out of time, never run out of
Go ahead.
night, something that I don't
Now,
believe
forgive
in.
me. I have to fix my camera. All right.
Not a whole new
So
side, and my
it's
ego is the
facing
reason. My
downward.
mind is a weapon, and my
All right.
body is the battlefield.
And let's
And
go ahead and
I know
turn
my
that
soul's
on.
intentions to know what
It ain't too
is
bad in here. You know what I'm
real.
saying? It's just kind of cluttered. So let me go ahead and turn my camera on.
I'm more than brave, yeah.
Well, hold on, wait.
Gotta go hard. I will not be
Nah, it's a little too
slave.
cluttered. But nah, okay, I'm just gonna put
Head
it
above
up right. Let me
water.
fix this real quick.
So many
All right,
ways.
I can do
I am not son or daughter. No label, no name. I'll never run out of time, never run out of night, something that I don't believe in.
What is her name? How do you pronounce her
Got a
name?
whole new side, and my ego is the
Yeah,
reason.
here goes something else. What is she singing
And
about?
my body is the
You know what I'm saying?
battlefield, and I know my
So
soul's intentions
she saying?
to know what is, to know what's real. I don't need armor. I'm more than brave, yeah. Gotta go hard. I will not be a slave. Head above water. So many ways. I am not son or daughter. No label, no name.
Man, that is so your pop, man. How do I, all right, so let me see if I can get this up. All right, there we go. All praise, there we go. That's so helpful. That's so much. So there's that. If anybody would like that link, appreciate you. Put a 7 in the room. Audio is fine. So I definitely hit the thumbs. I'll hit the like. Here's the share. I think she's the one that did another one. So it wasn't me. So there's a share for that. So you can check it out for yourself. All right.
I am not son or daughter.
Hey, matter of fact, and do something for me, man. Share out my videos, hit the like, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll just be going in. And then here goes something else. If you are aware of certain things that are going on around you, like the atmosphere, the ocean, I speak perspectives of it from the stratosphere, but I also come from books. You know what I'm saying? It's funny, it's been called books. Right? There used to be this place called library, and it was like magical, and you can go there and get a wealth of information. Right? So, but if you like that type of stuff, that's why I like to go in. Right now, the baby's resting, and the most important thing is something cool to do. Watch this. Are at nap time. I got it on the TV in their room. I can see you, Shia. Well, you can see me, Shia. You can see me. All right. So, shalom, shop, shop. Shop, shop. Hey, have a shop, shop. It's okay to rest. All right. Okay to rest. All right. So, yeah, appreciate that. Put a 7.
Gotta go hard. I will not be slave. Head above water.
Do other things. All right. So this is Isaiah Yashara YouTube. This is where we just come and kick in politics and not just do family fun stuff. And sometimes I just be going in. I don't know. It's whatever comes up. But in this month's Quan for the side, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, but I think what's my side. That's not the deal. I gotta play this next song. I really think you all are gonna enjoy it. But here's the point. I believe I just found out that people are not on the slave ships today because it's Martin Luther King's Day. So with that being said, the father's giving me a whole bunch of stuff on that just to say, just to talk about. So including how the holidays that are in America are attached to Roman holidays, which coincide with them worshiping their false gods, and also planets, right? So planets, planetary talk. I would love to talk about how we're having planetary alignment right now as we speak. And dogs are digging. If you are listen, let me know if you notice your pets acting strange. Have you noticed your dogs digging at certain spots in the house? Does it seem like they're like clawing at things at certain times? You know what I'm saying? At certain hours, have you noticed? You know what I'm saying? That people's personalities are behaving differently. So right now we are in what's called a full alignment, but also we are in what's called Kadash. So that's new moon. So we are in the ending phase of what's called interlunar, which that's when the sun, the earth, and the moon are all aligned up. Once they're all aligned up, it happens once a month. That's called interlunium. All right, and then the moon starts to slowly rotate again. And we recognize this, and we recognize the validity of this, and also the shape of the earth because of the shadow that's cast from the sun of the earth onto the moon, which makes the moon look like she's changing phases, but she's not. So even when the moon is lined up with the earth and the sun, this phase is called intermedium. Even when they're all lined up, you can still actually see the moon. You can still see her. She's not gone away. She didn't go to the metaverse. You know what I'm saying? Like she's there. You know what I'm saying? Um, a bunch of things, a bunch of fun stuff. So we'll talk about new moon. We can talk about new moon while we're talking on wrestling and how we are phased over from the moon and earth and the sun all being lined up to now. Let's imagine this hand is the moon and this hand is the earth. My head is the sun, right? Grandioso, right? Tall, right? So boom. So sun, earth, moon, right? So all of them are lined up. So as the moon slowly starts to move out of the way, you slowly start to see a curvature of the earth. The sun is larger, so the sun sending out rays in all directions, right? So as the moon starts to slowly go over, now you start to see a small sliver of the light of the sun. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? So that's what's called interludium when they're all lined up. That's also called the moon. And you can find that phrase in the book of Psalms. I believe it's 81 or 80, Psalms 83, maybe. Blow up the trumpet in the time moon, in the new moon in the time. A lot of people go to that verse and look at the word or the phrase new moon and they just come with the word chadash, right? Because that's me. But what you should look for when you go to that verse is you should look for the word appointed. See, appointed tells you when the moon is, not what the moon is, but when it is. And it's during the time frame that's called interludium. So, in the book of Second Samuel, I believe, right? Let's let's just pull it up and let's get it loaded. But I want to look at AD King. All right, so let's just get this pulled up. Second Samuel KJV chapter 9, Blue Letter Bible. All right, so hmm, hmm, hmm. That's not it. Is it 19? I hear him saying Abba. All right. Con. All right. So likely, one of them is por favor. All right. 1 second. Let me get them settled. Right back. Con. Okay, Tawada. Yeah, Bond, come on. Make sure you turn the light off, Con. All right, Tawada. All right, Tawada for being patient. All right. Come on, are you? Huh? Okay. You take your nap, Con. You have to turn the light off. Take your nap, Con. All right. Make sure that you know that I was right here too, Con. All right. Shemai, close your eyes and rest. All right. Tawada for being patient. All right. First Samuel 20 KJV Blue Letter Bible. All right. So yeah, so let's start right here and then we'll get to AD King. Tawada to everybody for being patient. Appreciate you. All right. So moreover, thy father so we know it. All right. So now I like this rhythm. I think it's super smooth. All right. I think it's awesome. All right. Again, let me see. It's 7 in the room. The audio is super far. Okay, awesome. All right. What you doing? All right. So all praise out. Hey, if you don't mind, share this out. Go ahead and hit that subscribe too. That'll help me. You know what I'm saying? I got like 7 friends on YouTube. And you know what's crazy? If all my Facebook friends would just switch over to my YouTube, man. That was I ain't know my camera was tilted either. All right, man. That was cool. But anyway, all right, so let's build. All right, Shalom, y'all, Shema, Latah, Khan, Hallelujah, y'all, Shema, all right, so 7 sons, booty that, all right. So, check this. Let's start with, we're going to go to AD King. All right, we're going to go to AD King. But let's start with this real quick. I want to talk about New Moon and also let's get another one. See, I like to know things. I like people to know things. You know what I'm saying? So it just works for me. All right. This is Exodus chapter 12. All right. So let me make this clear proclamation. All right. I am no scholar. All right. I am no Hebrew scholar. I am no literary scholar. I ain't no scholar of nothing. All right. I ain't nosy, but I know what I know. All right. So this is Exodus chapter 12. All right. Verse 3. All right. KJV. And it reads, speaking unto the congregation of Israel, saying in the 10th day of this month, ye shall take them the lamb, every man according to the house of their fathers, the lamb for their house. If the lamb be too little, if the household be too little for a lamb, let him and his neighbor next to him to his house take it according to the number of the souls. Every man according to his eating shall make an account for the lamb. The lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. He shall take it out take it out from the sheep or from the goats, and he shall keep it up to the 14th day of the same month. And the whole assembly of the congregation of Yahweh shall kill it in the evening, and they shall take the blood and crack it upon the two sides, both of the upper doorposts of the houses, wherein they shall eat, and they shall eat the flesh and that night. Roast with fire and unleavened bread. I am practicing. I've gained weight. I got the card face. All right. I know me. You know what I'm saying? I got some extra weight. Wow. You know what I'm saying? I got some wobbly bits. You know what I'm saying? I can feel it. You know what I'm saying? So now that I've had my indulgence, because I've had my indulgence. Excuse me. I've had my indulgence in uh, leaven. I've allowed myself to get leavened up. I knew when I did too, I was like, all right, so I like donuts. I'm okay. I was like, all right, I'm gonna take some time to gain some weight. You know what I'm saying? So now we've come into the season to where we have to get the leaven out. It's not an option. So now I would say get all your snacks out, get all your cookies, your cakes, your pies, because you got to practice getting the leaven out of your life. All right, like me, I partake in cannabis. All right, for those who know, you know what I'm saying, I make sexual aphrodisiacs and I make cannabis drinks. So with that being said, I partake in cannabis, but this means I also have a vice. The scripture says, "Vice shall not prevail over wisdom." Keep that in mind. So help keep that in mind that the Most High only love those who only love wisdom, all those who hate her love death. Keep that in mind. So also, as I minister to you, I minister to you. as we go into the Pesach time frame, it's not impossible for you to get 11 out your life, whether it's alcohol, whether it's pornography, whether it's, I'm pretty sure the most I believe in pornography. Like, it's so cool. Like, it's like a dog returning to his vomit, but I don't have a desire for it. And I'll tell you what happened. There was a prostitute who died. Her name was Mary. She's like a boogie woman. She's like a monster. Like, her name is Mary Magdalene. Can you imagine being a woman, being a child, going from a child to a little girl, and then performing those acts, and then using such a holy woman, and then with tattoos, the body looked like demonic? She died by falling out of it. And that's a Jezebel death. And I just remembered that, and I was like, I seen it before. And the Most High hit me with it. Just I don't know what to call it. I was like, yeah, I'm cool, because that was a vision. Like, that's what men are really looking at when they look at passion. You know what I'm saying? So I know we have our own stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, we like our shapes. And, you know what I'm saying? Small butts matter. Let me say that. All right, small butts matter. All right. So when we go into that realm of desire, something like that, and for people then to have a mind that there was a woman who mentally, physically against herself. And most I think I believe it's Psalms 101 verse 3. King David said, "I will see no evil thing." You know what I'm saying? So it's like, So that's something for all the men, you know what I'm saying, and the women, because we're going family hard. But this is a family show, so let's keep it family. So Exodus chapter 12 verse 8. All right, they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire and unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it. I'm going to tell you something. You're going to see in this time frame an influx in price of lamb. You're going to see lamb go skyrocket high. So you should be buying your lamb and your goat right now. Get online. If you got the means, get in touch with the farmer community. Get in touch with an Amish community. Get in touch with anybody that has land around you. Be like, you got some land? You know what I'm saying? What do you got? I want to try some of that goat milk. You got some this politics. I make friends with them. Most I said, make friends of those with mammon. For when your righteousness fails, then they are mammon. I'm not going to get the rest. What did he say their mammon shall do? Why did Christ say that? Make friends with those of mammon. Why did he say that there was going to be a time for this? All this stuff goes together, right? The first time we left Montezari, we turned the heart to the boy young to lust and to be to us to be able to make a plan way of his covenant, and remember, there was Gentiles that was in the land of Goshen. Don't forget that. Dogs also blood after where dead bodies were. Pay attention to things like that. All kinds of stuff. All right. Get in touch with those surrounding people that have the resources to where people make it sound impossible. And like, if you don't go to Yerushalayim, then you can't do it. That's not true. That's not true. The first Passover was not held in Jerusalem. The Father commanded us to come back 3 times a year. He also said that, the Father commanded us to come back 3 times a year. He also let us know that we would eat our bread in sorrow and in mourning and in pain. He told us, he prophesied that we still eat our mourning and bread in mourning. Watch this. In the book of Tobit, Tobit's father, or Tobias, he ate his bread in mourning. He even told us, he said, go out, and if you find any blood, if you don't touch it, tell him to come in. His father and son went out and said, I found one guy laying down the street. How he said so. Oh yeah. His Aberdeen, he went up, got the body, wrapped it up home, and he was unclean. And then you got dudes talking about, why can't you? Why can't you? When the Most High said that we would do it. Come on, with any excuses, I don't get it, man. Point of saying such is to say there's a scripture for everything. So when people discourage you from keeping the Pesach and the Passover in your captivity, yes, I've heard the statements. You don't know what kind of land you got that from this. You got this. Yeah, we know. All right, we know. In the place of drawing the waters, they should be first like that. You already know. So, my best suggestion is to get in contact with someone around you that actually has locally grown animals, or contact somebody and just let me know, like, hey, listen, we're going to do if you want to continue to decide, you know, if you really want to, you can learn from us. And you can get you a land. If we had did it earlier, you could have, saying, put it down. As a matter of fact, if you contact somebody, you get one. Sure. Go up office bed to you now. It's cold in here. I don't want you here. Wait. It's cold in here. I don't want you. I know we're going. So you have to go where you are. You got something in your mouth? Okay. Anything up your feet? So if you want to, you can get in touch with me. But then here's the kicker. Give them a hopeful encouragement for a future in business endeavor. Hey, you know what? Let's go do this. And then something. If you can, like, hey, here's a demo project for maybe next order. Not the middle. We'll come back with the middle next month. So give them a hopeful encouragement of a business endeavor. But contact somebody. There's somebody around. Even if you're like, well, I live in the city. All right. Well, there's farmers that come to the city. There's farmers market. You go there and talk to them. All right. All right. So it's possible. So those are a couple examples. One, the first Passover was actually kept in Egypt while we're in captivity. All right. So we were given the instructions, and Moses already now. Afterwards, he did give us Leviticus chapter 23. So, the next song, I'm going to let you really hear it. You can shine. Wow, the halak. So, so what you can do is you can contact them, shoot over them, set an expectation. All right, so we'll build it down there. All right, and also for the discouraging parts, we have Montezarium, which the Gentiles was also there with us. The Gentiles within our household that was covered up by then. Why? They left out with us. Everybody was covered up in that house. Like, dang, the Most High doing anything, dang. Huh? So I don't like the mentality of that. It's only going to be Hebrew Israelite inside the kingdom. Only just going to be saying Shalom, Shalom, Ain't nobody else here. I guess we no lie. There has to be orders, man. So I'm glad that everybody's getting caught up, picked up, glad that social media and everything, and so hopefully getting the message out. So since you know that the message is getting out, that means getting closer to Christ. All right. I want to encourage everybody as we get ready for Passover to start now on the preparation on your bitter herbs, on your unleavened bread, on your wine, of course, you need the kosher, and then definitely not. All right. I'm gonna say definitely not cranberry sauce. But not to make a joke of it, but I don't know, for cranberry sauce, that wouldn't be an offense. You got crazy doctors out here. All right, so make sure you have all of your prepared things. Man, and you know what? I'm so glad it didn't stick to the doctrine that it's okay to eat pork. I'm so glad that didn't stick. It's not okay to eat pork. Right? So I pray that we don't see any more of that, but we probably will. So back to it. Get all your things prepared. We are in that time frame. If you're not a part of a camp, just contact, just call out, reach around. You know what I'm saying? It's terrestrial signs. It's not a no big deal. Remember to go out there and keep holding to the best of your ability at that time. You have to tell the world, no, I can't. The world will function without you. You know what I'm saying? So Yahweh was looking for a kingdom. You know what I'm saying? So I love him. All right. So Pesach, all right, prepare on that. All right. Boom. New moon. All right. And we'll read this next. All right. I'm gonna go attend to it, but while I do that, we'll have the opportunity to check out this documentary. All right. So this documentary right here is 43 minutes. We haven't watched the whole 43 minutes. We're just gonna watch the beginning of it. All right. And we're gonna find out about. I gotta find out. Beautiful. Stop right. All right. So right here, we're gonna be looking for this elder. Yeah, he reminds me of my Gadol, my big brother. We don't have some type of big brother. All right. So,
It was just not his personality. Now, to seek a reputation.
AD was just as important as ML. They were brothers, and they were full blood brothers. I mean, they were brothers all the way. He was as dedicated to that civil rights movement as his brother was.
That's powerful. And we might not have known it, all right? Dedicated to that movement as his brother was, as his auntie was. So I want to show y'all something. A.D. King was a hitter, all right? You always had that be cool cat. And then, you know what? Let me give you an example. I think of my brother, you know, if you thought about, excuse me for using this analogy, but like you had like I don't know, man. You know, if you could think of a world, the record producers and the brothers, and you know, what I'm saying, and there was always that one that rough was polished. You really didn't want to see him, but you didn't know about him, but you a hitter. I love it, brother. So, but I'm gonna go ahead and mute this down. All right. All right. Hey, what I want to say real quick. Here's this video, so we'll let her
Gotta go hard.
fire.
I will not be slave.
Okay, so salute to her. Y'all bro, come here by so much. I already sent the link to her video if y'all want to check it out. I'm gonna go ahead and close that one down. Switch over to this, and again, you know, great job. I like to give people props. Like I'm not a, I like to give people props. So so salute our brother Badash Yaf. He sent that to us. So appreciate you on that. Here we are over here with the OG flow. All right, now it's time to serious it up. I'm gonna take this back to the gate because apparently, you know what I'm saying, like it's you know, I ain't doing nothing wrong. I ain't stealing nobody's information. Look, I gave him a thumbs up. Please, y'all go to these people page, get them props. You know what I'm saying? I'm not monetized, so I ain't getting bread for it. So YouTube, please don't hate on me. I just like to share information. All right.
Dedication to the rights of all.
A.D. Williams King, take a screenshot. Hey, man, don't he look like a hitter? Like you really don't want no smoke with him. Like, I'm going to keep it 1,200 with you. I'm going to keep it 1,200 with you. He looks like baby. He looks like baby. I didn't want to say, he looks like baby. You know what I'm talking about? Put some respect on my name. Baby. Shave off the head. Don't shave off his head. Start a tattoo on there. Put the tattoo. He looks like baby. So there was also, he's like, so in this brotherhood dynamic, we weren't taught, you know what I'm saying, this, we're taught the you know, the image of Dr. Martin Luther King, and we were taught the, you know, there's always so much more to learn. All right. Let's hear some words from elders. All right, and then blessed day to you. I don't want to say, I just called my Amma like the other day, and I said, Amma, you know, say, how young are you? And she said, I think she said, I'm 68. So, you know, I actually learned from her, like, I really don't keep up on dates and birthdays and all those things like that. I don't mean no offense by it. It's just that it wasn't embedded in me to be like that from my Amma. And that's not a bad thing. It just wasn't embedded in me. So long story short, you know, it hit me the other day, you know what I'm saying? Because we have to give respect and honor to our parents. My mama, she's with us. She's with me in this world. So, you know, I look forward to hearing from her more and talking to her more. Long story short, I said, Amma, how young are you? She said, I think she said I'm 68. And I was like, wow, 68. Wow, 68. So I said, I'm gonna start, you know what I'm saying, blessing your day. And she went through the thing with me. She's like, I really don't think about it, Byron. I was like, I know, Amma, but you know what I'm saying, you're past the age of 50. You know what I'm saying? That's glory. And what it was I was reading this book, Isidore Sebil's Etymologies, and it spoke on the different ages and stages of life. And I thought about my Amma. So that really showed me something, you know. So I'm not against celebrating memorials. The feast of, I don't celebrate birthdays, all right? So let's get that clear. If anybody want to talk about it, we'll talk about it. All right. My Amma, she's knowledgeable, so no doctrines. So memorials, such as Dr. Martin Luther King Day, all right? Memorials. I don't see offense in that, because in teaching just the small things of Dr. Martin Luther King Day, you know, we end up finding more grand things. So first, when I was younger than the truth, I did videos like Dr. Martin Luther King was a sellout. He was this, and he used to have white prostitutes, and he smoked with cigarettes. Like, I'm just spilling all the tea like on the man that I didn't really know like as much details and things as I thought I did. So I was wrong. Like, I was slandering the OG, and I'm like, this isn't the truth. And I'm like, and you know, so you know, the Father gave me more information, more understanding, a more repentant heart, you know what I'm saying, more comprehension, you know, on the sorrows of life and marriages. And, you know, salute to Coretta Scott King, you know what I'm saying, all praise to how it's all them still sisters and steadfast daughters out there. Damn. Whew. Oh, yeah. So, once I seen that, I was like, you know, I was in error. I was like, so since I was in error, you know, the Holy Spirit, Most High rebuked me. And I started to find a different way of, you know, giving this information out. So I remember last year the Father shared this. So A.D. Williams King looks like the baby of that time frame. Look at him. He this man is Diesel. You ain't want to see him. You really think.
The Reverend A.D. Williams King was born in 1930 to Dr. and Mrs. Martin Luther King Sr. As a young man, A.D. married Naomi Barber. During this time, A.D. accepted the call to ministry, graduating from Morehouse College in Atlanta. Reverend King pastored 4 churches, and because of their preaching styles, A.D. and his brother Martin were often termed the Sons of Thunder.
Did you know that? So hold on, wait a minute. You mean to tell me these cats was going in like the Torah twins? You mean to tell me, hold on, Dr. King wasn't just like, I know, don't trip off my beard. This is a real thing, all right? We call this grown man problems, all right? All right. So you mean to tell me that Dr. King, he and his brother, which his name was Michael, you know what I'm saying? Like Martin Luther King, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and that's a Hebrew thing that we have different names. When you look at Mashah, when you look at Moses actually had like 5 or 6 different names according to Hebrew antiquity, according to antiquities. Moses actually had a bunch of names, you know what I'm saying? We had nicknames in the Bible. So, you know, that's a real Hebrew custom. So, you know what I'm saying? You know, Dr. Martin Luther King, or also Dr. Michael King, you know what I'm saying? He and his brother was so cold. I know my face is gonna be super shiny, but it's okay. It's just like this will be like a marker. Like you'll remember when you came in at the video at like, okay, that was the ashy version, and then that was the oiled up version. All right, so like where he started, okay, like the 29-second mark where he was ashy at, and then when you get to like around the, you know, all right, so all right, so you know, preach with so much veracity. Look at the real. I had to look away. The Most High said, "Gaze not upon the beauty of a maiden." Listen, all praise the Most High by Shema Mashiach Yahushua. This is such a regal, and you could see he hitting them with the look away. He's hitting them with the look away. Oh, I don't know if y'all recognize, but listen, go back and look at images of like summit pictures. And, you know, some of the brothers that's in those pictures, some of the Akim, you know what I'm saying, including myself, and I'll say this, it is a Gadite thing. It is a North American Indian Negro thing to look away from the camera. So it's not okay. Like some of us do, you know what I'm saying? Some of us do, we be like, yeah, okay, yeah, no problem. But you'll go back, you'll see it in a lot of the Gadite images. We always looked away. I got brothers, I got family, man. You'll see some of the images of me, like we'll be like, you know what I'm saying? You probably do it yourself. Look how cold this picture is. Look how regal, how royal, how majestic she looks. Look how, yeah, here we go. Yeah, all right. We about to take care of this. Brother Michael, who was like God. Look how regal, Doctor, who was like God, Michael. Look how, oh yeah, steadfast off to the side. See, they was prepared for this picture. She was prepared for this. I was just cold, man. I need to screenshot that. That's a good one.
Organizing the Birmingham, Selma, Louisville, and St. Augustine, Florida civil rights.
Look at the height difference. All right, so I love iconoclasm. I love art. I love pictures. I love staring at optical illusions. I don't like hallucinogenics. I don't do hallucinogenics because I don't want to deal with seeing things we don't need to see yet. People who do, that's them, you know. So I love visuals. So my mama, she used to sit me down and I'd have to do workbooks on the floor. Look at these men. These men are strong and steadfast. I see the here and now and the then. I put garments and clothes on how we stand. I put all of these things into perspective in my life right now, being able to look back in the past. Y'all got to think about this. We are in the future. We are time traveling. We are in the future, having the ability to look back in the past. And, and it's just beautiful. And you do that through books. So with this imagery, look at the size and the stature of Zaquan, A.D. King. You know what I'm saying? Look at Zaquan Michael. A.D. Hey, that's A.D. and Mike. I'm pretty confident they both, So look at the stature, the standing close. Look at the head, the height ratio. Look at the handsomeness of these two men. All right. Now, I know somebody look at that's just, you had everything from the perspective of Sons of Thunder ministers, to, actually men that was out there street teaching before we were out there. Now, there's two sides to every story. You'll see whenever we're at the summits, and then you'll see whenever the elders are sitting back actually dialoguing together. And that's when you really see the grease and the oil and the grime and the good and the growth. That's when you really like, okay, this is where the gears are working at. All right. So, but yeah, all praise the Most High for these Aquanian
activities. Daddy King was the first to publicly express the belief that both of his sons were murdered for their civil rights activities.
I didn't know. This is, apologize. This reminds me of my Banyam, Yashar, and Jeremiah. So on the day, this looks like Yashar and Jeremiah, smooth straight up, you know what I'm saying? So the how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. There's so much that just can be brought out, said into this. And this is how important it is for you men of Yasharalium and you women of Yasharalium. First of all, stop separating your household. Stop separating your children. All right. You're helping in the destruction of our nation, not in the cultivation. If your operation is primarily invested in separation. Those are bars. Okay, you can't have them. They're mine. All right. All right. So if your operation is in separation, you're not, helping in the participation in the cultivation of our holy nation. So please, stop it. All right. So seeing two brethren to together dwell together in unity, Most High loves. All right. So I'm seeing I'm seeing art everywhere. I'm seeing a new era, a new age, especially with us having, the ability to be able to say, listen, you can't stunt. These are some of the most gangster lokes. These are some of the most ISUPK. Man, listen, put a Mitri on him and a studded garment. It's over with.
Meet Mrs. Naomi Barber King, wife of A.D. and sister-in-law of Coretta Scott and Martin Luther King Jr.
It was May the 11th, 1963, a Saturday before Mother's Day. I had prepared my...
Hey, they say black don't crack. I'm sorry. Just got to say that. So she's gorgeous. Even at the time of this interview, from the time of her picture, I don't know if y'all seen her image, you know what I'm saying? So hallelujah. There's a comparison. All right. You see the sweet button nose. All right. You see the, the lips, the eyes. All right. So definitely the red, you know what I'm saying? So with that being said, all praise the Most High, man. Hallelujah. These are women. And man, oh man, in my impatience and in my pain, I've said some of the most hurtful and dumbest things. You know what I'm saying? So, everything ain't all bad, you know what I'm saying? So, but double honor to these mothers, man. So let's go ahead and go through it.
Dining room table with all of my finery and getting set for, Mother's Day the next day, and was feeling good, about the preparations and everything. And my husband was back in the bedroom working on his sermon. And so after I had finished decorating the table and all, I went and I sat in the living room on my sofa, and there was a picture window directly in front of me. So I was just sitting there, and it was about 11 o'clock in at night, 11 o'clock. And I was just sitting there, just meditating and enjoying the quietness. And all of a sudden, I looked at my picture window and I noticed it had begun to crack. I didn't hear anything, I didn't see anything, but I noticed my picture window begin to crack. And simultaneously, my husband came up from the bedroom, and he came up and he opened the front door to our home, and he looked up the street and down the street, and it was so quiet that you could hear a cotton ball fall. It was so quiet. And when he did that, he came over and took my hand. He said, "Naomi, let's get out of here." He said, "Because it's too quiet about here." And by the time we got to the middle of our home, the second bomb hit.
The security folk who went over to the house to sort of stand guard, but it was really too late because the bombing had taken place. Ironically, no one was killed. We just was blessed.
Behold the Dream, Brother to the Dreamer, introduces you to the Reverend Dr. A.D. Williams King, little known giant of the civil rights movement.
Martin Luther King Jr. believed in nonviolence. He did love his neighbor as himself. Because he was mortal, this belief was not a gift. It was a philosophy which grew from study, self-discipline, and prayer. As he achieved this way of life, so can I, and so can we all.
I would hate to have been AD, put it like that, for a brother named Martin Luther King Jr. Because he had his own position, and he was his own person, and people knew that. But the world didn't recognize a lot of that. They didn't recognize it in us. It was Martin Luther King Jr.
Anybody would say that AD was not committed to the movement, they didn't know anything about the movement. AD was one of the leaders in the movement.
Yeah, so I want to pause right there, but check this out, man. That was really hard for me to not cry. And as a matter of fact, I did. You know what I'm saying? So, and the reason why I said I did, which I don't mind, you know what I'm saying? Like, I cry, you know what I'm saying? I cry, which we should cry. You know what I'm saying? I'm a crier, I'm a singer, I'm a praiser, all those good things, man. So this part right here specifically, which is a very, this man had to write out. He had to write this out and project this back to a world of Edomites, of every other ite, the government, his own people. Because I'm gonna tell y'all something else. It was some wild, reckless Negroes like the new Black Panther Party. You know, he said, you Negroes ain't worked together not a week in y'all's life. Talk about standing out there with guns. I'm not standing behind none of them cats. They're not trained. They don't know about tacticals. You know what? Christ is our king. I'm not supporting the new Black Panther Party because whenever I dealt with them, I was always telling them to come back to their nationality. All of you are Kwame Asharali. We all are children of Israel, descendant. What's your nationality? Let's talk about it. That's the first thing. And then watching how each one of them had a different, not only religious philosophy, but, a different viewpoint on, it was like a motorcycle gang. The new Black Panther Party, it was like a Muslim, Islamic, it was like a Christian, we Black Panthers, but we also Islamic, but we don't go to mosque and we do eat pork, but we are Black Panthers, but the new ones, and we got guns and I got some land. It was ridiculous. Nah. I was like, if y'all not organized in Tawara, if y'all not organized in no common one law, what's y'all laws y'all stand by? None? You don't have one common law book? No, I'm not doing that. So I don't stand by that. But there was Negroes that was out there even during this time, that Elder A.D. King and that Zaquan Michael, Dr. Martin Luther King, and here's A.D. King's rib, all praise the Most High. But to see him have to deliver the speech, it very much welled me up in tears. And the reason being is because, I can see, I have Tubanium here. Let me show y'all this real quick. Let me switch over to StreamYard real quick, and pull this big boy up. All right, boom. Big head, don't care. All right, here we go. All right. I'm gonna go over here. Edit avatar. Oops. No, edit avatar. All right. I want to show y'all my two. Wow. Oh man. Let me see. I gotta be careful. I can't show all of my images. All right. I can't show all of my images. All right, but let me show y'all something, man. This is my bond. All right. Can I switch to it? Trying to switch to a picture of my bond, my son. Well, it's not working right now, but maybe it'll work later. I'm trying to change my background. Pull up an image. So I have pictures of my banyam of my two sons, Yashar and Jeremiah. You know what I'm saying? And Yashar, and my perspective, he's more like, you know, he would be the Dr. Martin Luther King or the Michael King. And then Jeremiah, he would be the AD King. You know what I'm saying? And then we have, you know, in our natural families, I know you gotta have somebody that you like, oh yeah, that's like my sister. You know, my sister, she rah-rah, you know what I'm saying? She rah-rah with it. You know, I got transparency stuff back there. All right. So like my sister, she's rah-rah with it, you know. So we all have people that's like that in our family. So with that being said, you can have a relation with like, okay, I can relate to somebody like that with Dr. Martin Luther King and with his brother. So to hear him have to give this speech, and this speech is, you know, also to ignorant Negroes, all right, and it's also to the same, you know what I'm saying, Edomites that's in front of us, that's been oppressing us. Like, we just want to work. Like, wow, just leave us alone. How about that? How about not bomb, all right, our cities whenever we start flourishing? All right. Can y'all stop kidnapping us, Baba Kushai? Please. How about that? How about we don't throw up these hands and do the work? You know what I'm saying? Because how about we say please? Will that work? So AD King being one of them brothers that was a hitter from that, you know what I'm saying, from that heart place, and being an educated man, but also seeing his brother murdered in front of him, it's like, man, you know, and it's like we dealing with another Joseph situation in the Bible. You know, we're dealing with another, you know what I'm saying, serious forgiveness, you know, concern. So it's a heavy reflection on me, man. It's a heavy reflection on me. But at the same time, you know, I want y'all to hear the speech because it's a little known speech by AD King. All right, check this out. Let's see what the elder said.
Brother to the Dreamer introduces you to the Reverend Dr. A.D. Williams King, little known giant of the civil rights movement.
Martin Luther King Jr. believed in nonviolence.
So again, keep this in mind. Him and his brother was called the sons of God. Now he gotta write this speech after his brother's been murdered by himself. He ain't there, like Brew ain't there to be like, hey, man, what you think about this? Huh? I think you should say this. No, you say this too much, man. All right, man. He ain't there no more. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, he's alone now. And he's got to write this about his own biological brother who was just murdered for this cause. And watch what he says at the end. But not only that, I want you to pay attention to his face, to his gestures, to his contents. Every place he turned his contents. Pay attention to his lip, his jawline, his ears, his eyes. I'm so grateful that this has been brought up in modern times, you know, especially with the color perspective and all that other good stuff. You know what I'm saying? You know, because there's nothing new under the sun. All right, so, all right, check it out.
He did love his neighbor as himself. Because he was mortal, this belief was not a gift. It was a philosophy.
Because he did love his neighbor as himself. So he's talking about his own brother. Because he was mortal, this was not a gift, it was a philosophy. Because he was a mortal man, he had to make himself think like this, y'all. It wasn't a gift to him. He ain't come like this. He had to love philios. He had to love wisdom.
Which grew from study, self-discipline, and prayer. As he achieved this way of life, so can I, and so can we all.
Did you hear what he said? He said, so he put himself first. A.D. King put himself first and then put everybody else second. So I'm a writer. I can be a writer. I don't know if I'm right. I'm a scribe. I'm a descendant of the scribes. So to have to think this, my brother's not here with me. The same ones that murdered him and other brews, I gotta tell them, don't fire off, y'all. Hold on. Vengeance is of the Lord. I know, I understand that you want Gentile salvation to not be true, but vengeance is of the Lord. Don't forget that, right? Right. So if any other man come any other way by the king, he cometh as a thief. All right. All right. So here is the patience of the saints. See? So to have that feeling to know, like, my Ak ain't here, I gotta write this, and he really was this. And see, that's another testament. The scripture says, a wise man comprehending much in few words. That wasn't a long speech. It was short, it was impactful, it was heartfelt, and it resonated to everybody. That's like 4 great points. All right. Short and steady wins the race. All right. Short kings in the building. All right. And he ended it off saying, I can too, and so can you. That means something to me. You know, I see my binding, I see my sons. All right, so we'll do that one more time. We're just gonna go through and let it play. All right, I want to give a salute to the elders, Zaquan, A.D. King. All right, brother to the dream. Ain't that a cold title? Brother to the dream.
To the Reverend Dr. A.D. Williams King, little-known giant of the civil rights movement.
Martin Luther King Jr. believed in nonviolence. He did love his neighbor as himself. Because he was mortal, this belief was not a gift. It was a philosophy which grew from study, self-discipline, and prayer. As he achieved this way of life, so can I, and so can we all.
I would hate to have been AD, put it like that, with a brother named Martin Luther King Jr. Because he had his.
Man, tell me about it. I know what it's like. It's like, oh yeah, that's your brother? Yeah, the one who, you know, makes gold appear out of nowhere, and he's, you know, super slick, suave, and he flies to the moon. Like, how you end up in the hood in the game? I mean, like, yeah, that's my, like, man, y'all a night and day.
Yeah. Own position, and he was his own person, and people knew that. But the world didn't recognize a lot of that. They didn't recognize it in us. It was Martin Luther King Jr.
Anybody that would say that AD was not committed to the movement, they didn't know anything about the movement.
Hey, my bad. The elder kind of throw a little salt at the end, like, not trying to be funny, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I know Zaquan and J.T. Johnson, salute to the elder because he was there. You know, salute to all of our forefathers, our foremothers, man. He said, honor your father and mother, that your days may be long. I heard him throw it in there. He was like, he ain't right. They ain't recognize nobody. We was, but maybe, you know, maybe not. But that's a fact. You know what I'm saying? He's putting his stamp on it. And that's how it is with the Zaquanium, because that's why I apologize. I repent. Because yeah, some elders that's behind the scenes and they do amazing work and you'll never know it, you know what I'm saying? You know, but they're there, all right?
With a brother named Martin Luther King Jr. Because he had his own position and he was his own person, and people knew that. But the world didn't recognize a lot of that. They didn't recognize it in us. It was Martin Luther King Jr.
Anybody that would say that AD was not committed to the movement, they didn't know anything about the movement. AD was one of the leaders in the movement. He was a strategist. He was an architect. He was a warrior, activist. AD was somebody and who said that did not.
Hold on, wait a minute. That's AD right there. That's like when people go back in time and be like, you know, yeah, that's what. Whoa, that's the Zaquan AD right there. I like how the elder is coming. I like his point. I want to get back to what he's saying. he one of the ones, like I can hear him in today's time. He like one of the ones, he like, yeah, man, if you ain't know, man, if you said AD wasn't on the set, if AD wasn't, you wasn't around. If you ain't know AD, we ain't know you.
No, AD. AD was a warrior. At the same time,
Right there. He's right there. And that's what the Zaquan was saying. Everybody was like, oh yeah, everybody knew Dr. King. Woo, 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 woo. Hey, you know, there are so many pictures, and this is kind of cool, but it's like a crazy setup because I got a brother that's a strategist, and there's so many pictures where this ninja is in the background somewhere unexpected doing. Is that that's AD in the background. All right, but yeah, man, all praise, man.
he was a loving and a kind brother. Great preacher. The people gravitate to him.
I'm happy for two reasons. One, I would love to see my father get some credit for the sacrifices he made, because he gave up a lot, went to jail a lot on his own. And I think that it would be good for America and the world to see what he was able to accomplish with the help of God in his own right.
Like his brother and other members of his family, was deeply committed to end segregation, end racial discrimination. AD was very self-confident, strong, and solid in his own right.
Oh, hold on one second.
You know, he was more radical than what you would think.
Yeah, okay. All right. She about to spill the tea. She about to spill the tea.
Committed to end segregation, end racial discrimination. AD was very self-confident, strong, and solid in his own right.
You know, he was more radical than what you would think, because we met at a church right down the street from here, and we had a rally, and he had us to march down the street. And right in the middle of the intersection of 4th and Broadway, which is a busy street, 4:30 in the afternoon, and had us to all sit down in the intersection. And we stopped traffic all ways.
Hold on. You got people that's right now don't even want to go on the corners and street teach or preach the gospel. They like, nah, this is Zaquan sat down in the busy. Got everybody like, nah, this is what we doing. Hey, but what about if they bring the car? Hey, this is what we doing. Hey, everything gonna be out. I don't know what he said, but you know what I'm saying? Then can you imagine that? Like you come to the meeting and it's like, hey man, I got here late. What we doing? Hey man, come on, pack up. We out. Oh yeah, where we going? Hey, we about to go to the 5th and 3rd. Oh, all right. What we about to do? Everybody sit out in the middle of the street. Huh? Sit down. What we waiting for? We waiting for the bus? Hey, sit down. That's what we doing.
Kind of a person who could bring people together, and that's what he did. And he went to Purdue University, was able to lease their plane.
There you go right there, AD. There you go right there, AD. And, you know, and I ain't got nothing against him. It looked like the OG right here about to light up a square. He might not be. About to light up a Newport cigarette. He might not be. Either that or he's checking his Android or his iPhone. We might have caught a vision of a time traveler, but it looked like it's about to go down. So AD is right here. He's a massive man. Man, that's amazing. And then to know like this is what we're about to go up against. Man, can y'all look at this? Look at this. These are the children of Israel, children. And then salute, shout out to all the Goyim that put their lives on the line in the background too. Woo, 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 woo. All right. We got all the Gentiles back there with us. You know what I'm saying? They've always been mingled in. It's just prophesied. It's always been mingled amongst us, man. It always will be. You know what I'm saying? So some of them just like, hey, you know what? I took the day off, but this is wrong. All right. And all praise the Most High. You know, and we had a journalist that was out here put their lives on the line too. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Can you imagine just any 1v1, just any 1v1, like with with Ralph Tresvant right here. Can you imagine? He just looked like he is just was slide. He got the arms, the reach. Come on, man. He taller than everybody in the. Never mind. So the Most High made us a lion nation, and for these men to be peaceful, salutful, saying peaceful and resolved, and bringing a resolution to shalom, to peace, outside of the attributes of how the Father made us physically, dominant. Outside of the attributes of the Most High calling us literally, ye are gods, is our name. I don't think this one man. So humility wins. All right.
Football playing, and we took a load of Kentuckians to Selma. He was on the picture with the governor when he signed the bill into law, which was the Kentucky Civil Rights Act in 1966.
I served as executive director of the Kentucky Christian Leadership Conference when Reverend King was the chairman of the board.
I'm gonna pause that in case anybody want to screenshot it. This is a moment in history. All right. If anybody will screenshot
Reverend King was
that's like having a flyer from the original, civil rights movement. That's like having a flyer from the civil rights movement. Come on, y'all. That's fine.
a constant recruiter
Somebody need to screenshot that and make it digital.
and the most prolific recruiter for the demonstrations. He went through the churches. He organized the Kentucky affiliate of SCLC, known as Kentucky Christian Leadership Conference. And he went to youth groups. AD was a strategist in his own right of tactics to be used during the civil rights movement. He was an excellent speaker, good preacher, and a good pastor. I think his major contribution was that he did as much as possible carry out the same attitude and the same commitment that his brother had. I don't think AD ever really sought the limelight. He was in Memphis when his brother was killed. He didn't seek the limelight. I think he was always there and ready to do his part, but it was just not his personality. Now, to seek a reputation.
AD
Seek a reputation. He was always there and ready to do his part, but it was just not his personality. Now, to
I gotta pause there. I don't know what night this was, but I know it was going down. I don't know what night this was, but I know it was going down. I know that man was on fire. I know that all eyes, all hearts. You know what I'm saying? You got this cat right here. He drinking. You know what I'm saying? And then to be up there. Okay, you got brothers on post. You know what I'm saying? And to not know if a rock was gonna fly at you, or if a brick was gonna fly at you, or if a bullet was gonna fly at you, because I'm speaking for the sake of all of my people. Man, all praise Yahweh by Shema Mashiach outside. All praise Yahweh by Shema Mashiach outside. You know what I'm saying? So salute to those Aquanium, salute to those elders who before us. He got his fist cocked, his chest is out, his head is forward, his arm ready to, you know what I'm saying? His arm in the yard. That's the yard position. That's the yard. Like Yahweh, that's the yard position. Ready to go forward, man. Brothers on post. So, all right, we'll go ahead and play this.
seek a reputation.
AD was just as important as ML. They were brothers. And they were full-blooded blood brothers. I mean, they were brothers all the way. He was as dedicated to that civil rights movement as his brother was.
AD's role was as important as Martin's role. They were brothers, and AD knew that he was not Martin, and Martin knew that he was not AD. Martin knew the campus. Martin knew the corporate boardrooms. Martin knew how to walk around with the intellectuals. AD, however, majored in the people of the streets. AD knew the people on the street. He knew how they felt. He knew that. Plus, they would follow him. He could corral them. And most of all, AD had a gift with leading children. AD could rally children around the civil rights movement, and Martin depended heavily upon AD. His insight and the reasons that we are doing it are more important than pain, more important than setback, more important than failure. If things didn't move today, we'll be back tomorrow. If things didn't move tomorrow, we'll be back the next day. If they didn't move on Friday, we'll be back Saturday. So number one, training. And who's eligible, who has the kind of character, who has the kind of faith foundation that can do those kind of things. The way AD made me feel, AD made you feel like you could do anything. AD would say, come on, let's do this. He said, well, and AD said, come on, let's do it. We got to do it. We can do it. That was his spirit. And that was about everything across the board. We can do this. I can do it. I need for you to do this. I can't do this without you. Come on, let's do this. He made us stretch in a comical way. And at the time, you didn't know that was happening. But as I look back on it, reflect upon it, that's what he did. He made us all stretch in AD's way, AD's gifts and AD's talents. And we're all plugged into that. And that's what made AD a great man. And the movement was a great.
I'll pause it right there. Man, they are such a regal couple, man. Man, just look at the glory and the beauty of the Elijah Yashala. Hallelujah.
A debt. They should never forget A.D. King. I know I won't. He was a sleeping giant.
I keep trying to pause it, but everybody keep giving the Zaquan crazy creds. I keep trying to pause and go to talking about the new moon, but everybody's coming. Let give the man his flowers.
That was never given the credit he should have been given.
I don't think he ever met a stranger in his entire life. And he had a way of relaxing people. He had a great sense of humor. AD recruited ministers and pastors into the movement that many people don't know about. Dr. King, Daddy King at Ebenezer, Dr. William Holmes Borders at Wheat Street Baptist Church.
So he's the so forgive me for saying it like this, but he would be like the Abba Bivens. You know, he opened up a lot of doors. All right, he opened up a lot of doors. Amen.
Church, the late Reverend Joe Boone, Reverend Greer, the Reverend Dorsey, all of these, the Reverend B.J. Johnson, all of these persons were recruited to walk with and stand with the students. Moments in history when the power of nonviolence was operating to the extent that the jailer was apologetic for carrying out his duties. Of course, one could say not unlike the jailer in Philippi many centuries ago, who said to Paul and Silas after the jailhouse was shaken, "What must I do to be saved?" And I think maybe at the core of our history, America might be raising the same question today. What can we do to be saved in the 21st century?
You have to take a look at the faith. You have to take a look at the courage of this man, a man that pastored an African-American church, a man that just didn't think that African-Americans had to be free. He thought that poor whites, he knew that poor whites was in the same boat.
Gentile salvation.
He wasn't out there just marching for us.
Gentile salvation.
He wasn't out there marching just because his brother was ML King, because he could have stayed comfortable at home. He could have stayed with his family. He didn't have to make the sacrifice that he made, and still living here in Louisville, still taking the abuse from some of the Louisvillian so-called friends. But he was a man of courage. To not to have known AD is a mistake, a terrible mistake for our children. Not to know right on that corner, 22nd, what is now Muhammad Ali Boulevard, was pastored by a very brave and courageous man, Reverend A.D. King, that sacrificed his family and himself. And then when he went home, he had to, into Georgia, he ran into other errors in his life. It was heartbreaking. It was very heartbreaking. But you miss something when you talk about all the other great heroes and you miss AD. Because a lot of churches, a lot of ministers in this city was afraid to open their doors when Dr. King came. He sacrificed. He opened his door. They blowed the doors off of his church. He never stopped.
This cover shows a picture of me to the very far right.
All right. Shalom, salute to you, Reverend William Bolden. All right. All right. Don't want to cut the elder. All right. So what I do want to do is take this documentary, and if anybody would like to watch, you can watch for yourselves. All right. Or you can watch with somebody. It's good to refresh yourselves, man. And it's also good to have this reminder. I'm glad that the Elijah are able to rest of this right now. All right. All right. So now, real quick, I wanted to say, boom. All right. There's the link. All right. Great documentary, man. You know, I enjoy it. All right. So a documentary. Let me see. Reverend A.D. King, Behold the Dream, Brother to the Dream. There's a title right there. All right. Here's a video right there. So check that out, man. Remind others, because, you know what I'm saying, there's plenty of martyrs, you know. There's a book called, let's get this. So there's a book called Fox's Book of Martyrs. All right. If you all get a chance, get this book, invest in this book. You know, if you are a person who works a lot or you're always on the move, you know, you can get the audio version of this book. Fox's book, you might even be able to find it on YouTube. And if I can find it on YouTube for you, then I'll just put the link in there. All right. But Fox's Book of Martyrs gives a record of the elders that were in the past that died for the name of Mashiach Yahushua. So just like Reverend William Bolden, you know what I'm saying, being one of the Zaquanim, one of the fathers, you know, there were so many others that were there at that time frame. No, we don't know everybody's name, but salute to them. Second record straight about death of Alfred Daniel King III. Okay. They setting the record straight. Well, they got a story to tell, and you got social media so you can tell it. So there you have that. I pray that if anybody would like to, you can see that documentary for yourself. You can enjoy it. And guess what? Your brother who loves you so very much just did. I just found for you a gift. I like books. I like people to know things. I'm going to take this link right here. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to paste it because we talked about Fox's Book of Martyrs. If you want a real tearjerker, if you want some emotional stuff that's going to help you, you know what I'm saying, see, you know, where your walk is and where other people gave their lives and died for the gospel, for Yahweh Bashem Mashiach Yahushua, You know, I'm a YouTube head. I got YouTube Premium. I'm sorry. I know. You know, I don't have an iPhone. You know what I'm saying? I'm Android, and this works for me. YouTube Premium. So if you if you're an Android, if you're an iPhone person, maybe you can find it on iScore or whatever. Because you know, I just Android, Apple charges for everything. Like I don't want to get charged for everything. Oh, nah, man. So, um, so Fox's Book of Martyr, as you see, this is part 1 through part 11. All right, and then you have part 1 through part 11. So Fox's Book of Martyrs. All right, that would be a huge blessing for you. All right, so while we are in the antiquity zone, let's end out that video and again say the water. Thank you so much to the elders and to those who came before us. All right, who ministered, gave their lives. All right, to all our forefathers and our foremothers. You know. All right, so while we are in the antiquity zone, we're going to get started on our teacher Isidore of Seville. We're going to use his teaching today. And I want to look up definition for something. I like definitions. All right. I like to know things. All right. So one thing I want to know is the definition of domestic violence. All right. So I'm looking into this because, you know, I don't agree with and support or promote domestic violence. I do agree that a wife can be reprimanded, she can be corrected, she can be, spanked. You know, if you say, we'll say some people have different things, you know what I'm saying? Some people don't do that. Some people just communicate, you know what I'm saying? Just like you would spank your children, you know what I'm saying? But I do not believe in domestic violence. I do not teach domestic violence. Domestic violence is something that Yasha Ali should not be a part of. Me, myself, being a victim of domestic violence, being a domestic violence survivor, running with it, high five. So I myself, I don't support or teach it, nor is it a biblical principle. All right. I haven't seen to where domestic violence is a biblical principle. I want to read this real quick. Tell me what you all think. It says Black's Law Dictionary defines domestic violence as violence between members of a household. All right. How do we know when that's, let's get our music playing. Nagayana, cue music play. Thank you. All right, let's get it. So, how do we know when domestic violence is in play? And then what are the determining factors to say what is considered domestic violence and what is not considered domestic violence? All right, so real quick, just want to read this. Tell me, what do you think? Domestic violence law synthesizes various areas of criminal law into one category. All right, this category of prohibited acts calls on relationships between the aggressor and the victim. All right, so let's read. All right, domestic violence laws. Start from right here. Domestic violence laws. The victim or complaint must be the aggressor's spouse. The victim or complaints must be the aggressor's spouse, former spouse, or former spouse, a person to whom the victim is related by blood or marriage. So we're currently in a relationship. We were currently in a relationship. All right. I know that person by blood. That's my cousin. Or I'm currently married to that person. A person with whom the victim is, all right, so that's another thing. You have to currently be living with that person, or with whom the person who had or is having a dating relationship. All right, so boom. These are some key determining factors. All right. Boom. All right. A person with whom the victim has a child in common. All right. The minor child of any of the above persons, the person's minor child, or any other person with whom has been appointed the custody or legal guardian of a person's minor child. So long as one of the above relationships exists, all of the following acts will constitute domestic violence: battery, assault, compelling the other person by force or by threats, or force to perform an act from which the person has the right to refrain, or to refrain from an act which the other person has the right to perform. All right. So you didn't knock on the door, and then you also came forward. All right. Try again, Sexual assault, knowing, purposeful or reckless course of conduct intended to harass the other person. Such conduct may include, but it's not limited to. Shalom, who is it? Kayaya who? Mikayaya who? Your name is Mikayaya? That's a cool name. Who is Mikayaya? Mikayaya who? I don't open my door. I didn't say who is Mikayaya. That's a pretty cool name. Who are you, Kayaya? I know you right there, but who are you? Kayaya who? What would you like, Miss Kayaya? All right. I would like for you to put some socks on, Con, and make sure don't wake up, Shariah. The water. Make sure the door's closed. Don't wake up, Shariah. Shalom. Shoes on. Let's get it. All right. So back to it. All right. Knowing. All right. So these are a few things. All right. Sexual. Knowing a purposeful or reckless course of conduct intended to harass the person, such conduct may include, but it's not limited to. So check yourselves, fellas. Check yourselves, women. All right. Stalking, arson, trespassing, larceny, destruction of private property, carrying a concealed weapon without permit, or injuring or killing an animal, a false imprisonment or an unlawful entering of another victim's residence, or forcible entry against the victim's will if there is a reasonably forcible risk of harm to the victim from the entry. All right, so this website I just want to share, but not only do I want to share this website, I also want to give you biblical counsel. All right, so if you are somebody that's dealing with domestic violence, like I said, not only myself being a survivor of domestic violence on a couple different ways, you know what I'm saying? Also, not promoting it. So real quick, there's that. All right, appreciate you for listening. All right, very grateful. Let's get to this next part. Since we're sharing information, we're going to share this page right here. This page right here is super cool. So Isidore of Seville, I'm going to take you to this website, but I like to share. All right, I like to share. I can't help it. All right, it's just how the Father made me. I like to share. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this website and I'm going to put this website right inside of this Jones right here. And since you're watching this, matter of fact, why don't you share out too? Because I want to show you something and then you can show somebody else. All right. So here's the link to where we are. Isidore Seville's etymologies. Now, we're at it. Let's talk about New Moon. We talked about A.D. King. We talked about the revolutionary. We talked about how he was an OG. He was a triple OG. And how his baby brother, Michael King, he was the face of the revolution. Hey, bro, still you, man. Come on, man. You got this. All right. And then you had Dinky. All right. You had Tazadak. You had Saquon, Mathathua. You had, Saquon Partazan. You had the elder that was really behind the scene calling the shots. Con, I'm so grateful. Do you have your socks on? Yes, you do. Go put your shoes up and put your socks on. Shoes off, socks on. Don't wake up, Shariah. So, you have the elder, the behind the scene OG, and we talked about that. And that documentary we posted here. So, preferably you can see it, check it out for yourself. Put a 7 in the room if the audio is so good. It's okay if it's all good. This book you're gonna really enjoy. Now, this book is called, as you can see, the etymologies of Isidore of Seville. All right. So the etymologies of Isidore of Seville is like an old school internet. It's like an old school internet source. Look at some of these topics. All right. Look at some of these topics: grammar, rhetoric, and dialect, mathematics, music, and astronomy. What guess where we're going today? Today is new moon. So we'll be going to the chapter on mathematics, music, and astronomy. We're also going to share it so you'll be able to, find it pretty easy for yourself. All right. So the scripture says, prove all things. Now, for those of you who know me, I'm not a debater. I'm not a debater. I don't know how to debate. If you want to debate me, you're going to win. No, I ain't good. But I'll talk to you, I don't know how to do the platform because I don't know how to do the popularity contest. I just know how to tell things that are accurate and true. If I say something that's wrong, I'll be like, oh, my bad. But I like to share things. All right. So check this out. So we're going to pull this up first and look at where we're at. So this is De Mathematica, book 3, Mathematics, Mathematica. All right. Now hold that perspective. We're also going to come over here. All right. This is the book of Exodus, chapter 12, verse 1. All right. And Yahweh spake unto Moshe and to Aharon in the land of Egypt, saying, this shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year unto you. Hold that thought. Let's go over here. New moon. I didn't do anything. I'm not trying to trick you. All I did was use the word new moon. I want to push this button right here that says images. And when I go to images, I want to show you. Here's a Wikipedia image of a primarily dark phase, and you have a small, thin sliver. And the reason is because at the end of the new moon phase, you'll begin to see the light, and this light is called waxing crescent. But first, before it's waxing crescent, you'll see the small, thin sliver of the ending phase of the new moon. Now, if you look at this image, this is how the 8 lunar phases work. You have new moon, waning crescent, first quarter, waxing gibbous, new moon, waxing crescent, first quarter, waxing gibbous, waning gibbous, and then you have last quarter, and you have waning crescent, and the phase starts all over. But you might have some that say, Brother Isaiah Yasharallah, new moon starts when waxing crescent begins. That's when you can see it because it's the light of the moon. Kamakan, Kwam, you may, Baba Kushad. You don't have shoes on. You have my boots. So take those boots off right now. Stand still. Take your feet out those boots. No, go in there. Go take those boots off and put some socks from out of your drawer on. Your feet are gonna smell like jars of pickles. Oh, I just remember what I did with the boiled eggs. I put them inside of a pickle jar at Dwight Howard. Go in there and it's cold in here. I don't want you to get ill. Con, put socks on and stay warm. So some may say, Brother Isaiah Yasharallah, waxing crescent is when you can see the first sliver of the moon. Well, that's not true. Somebody say that's when you see new moon. It's true when you can see waxing crescent, that's the first sliver. But it's astronomically and biblically pronounced that new moon is when the moon is covered. Okay? So we're right here. Boom. And as we're right here, we're going to see this real quick. All right. I'm not coming against anybody that's keeping right now. I just want to also show you and too. I want to add a little salt to your lamb. I'm not coming to say you're keeping new moon and waxing crescent, so therefore you just off and you wake up. When I was a child, I said that. When I was younger in the truth, I said things like that. You know what I'm saying? And we'll get back to all that. When I was younger in the truth, I said things like that. But now, you know what I'm saying, I have to be more careful and more detailed on how the Father gives me information. All right, so let me show you this real quick, and I'll try to make it. I want to really just go through it and spend time and just lavish all of this, you know what I'm saying, stuff on you, reflect stuff, and then you can say what you see, but let's do it like this and see what the Holy Spirit means. All right, so we're going to start right here, all right, with where we currently are. All right, let's see. 1 Samuel chapter 20, verse 3, and David swore moreover and said, thy father certainly knoweth that I have found grace in thine eyes. And he said, let not Jonathan know this, lest he be grieved, but truly Yahweh liveth, and as thy soul liveth, there is but one step between me and death. Then said Jonathan unto David, whatsoever thy soul desireth, I even do it for thee. All right, I will even do it for thee. And David said unto Jonathan, behold, watch this. Behold, tomorrow is the new moon. David had the ability. Now, we ain't even went into the Hebrew breakdown and all that stuff. It's not hard to tell when new moon is if you're watching the lunar phases go away. All right. If you're watching the lunar phases come into play and the lunar phases go out to play, it's not hard to tell when new moon is. Okay. So, phases of the moon. So, if you're watching for the phases of the moon, it's not hard to tell when new moon is because you'll actually be able to see, the moon go through this beautiful process. And we should all learn it. We should all learn it. It's only 8 small phases, and especially us being a Yeladim and Yasharala, you know what I'm saying? Here am I. You're right. She Mama Moon. So if you're watching, this is where we currently are right here. We are in this phase called new moon, right? Now I'm doing the animation, but I could bring up the visuals, but let's just do it like this right now for the sake of time. So this is new moon, but we're slowly moving into this phase, which is called waxing crescent. Now, right now, we are only at the second day of new moon. We are at the first day of waxing crescent. We just came out of the first night of interlunium. We are entering the first day of waxing crescent. And the sliver is so small that she can't be seen with the naked eye. So therefore, right now, the moon currently looks dark still. Right now, you're not going to currently see a sliver. Now, watch this. What is the point of saying that? What is the point of saying that? Here's our image. You're going to see right here, this is where we are. We're in new moon, right? We're in the second day, the first day of new moon, all right? Because we had the first night, so we're in the second day of new moon. Right now, we're going into the first day of waxing crescent. All right, so we're going into the first night of waxing crescent. Actually, we're going into the first night of waxing crescent now. So this means the crescent sliver, that little bitty sliver that goes around your fingernail, right? Like, look at your fingernail. You see that little bit curve that goes around your fingernail? That's when we see the moon and you see that little light. Some people, even when we were children, they'll say that's God's fingernail. Like, oh, that's so cute. But that will also mean that God is very small. So that would be a small thumbnail. So, but they put the image then it's like, okay, that's about our fingernail. So, hold on, Banav. So once we leave the phase of new moon, and you can write this down, it's only 8 phases. New moon, waxing, first waxing gibbous. You have waning gibbous, last quarter, waning crescent, and then new moon. Now watch this: crescent, quarter, is gibbous, full new. The Most High said that He has made all things double. Watch. The Lord has made all things double and has set one against another. So let's pull that real quick. All right. I believe that's Sirach chapter 42. All right. Sirach chapter 42. The Lord has made all things double and has set one against another. All right. So when you're looking at the lunar phases, it's the same thing. You have crescent, they're just facing opposite directions. All right. You have quarter, right? They're just facing opposite directions. Then right here, the moon is in the middle. And then you have the different crescents. See, the light is on this side, and over here, the light is on this side. Now, the opposite of full moon is new moon, which is dark moon, right? The opposite of full moon is new moon, which is dark moon. But let's read a book. Don't just take my word for it. Let's go to a book. Oh, we're already there. St. John of Damascus, book number 2, chapter 7, light, fire, stars, luminaries. And we're also going to come right back here to where our section is on mathematics, right? So we have this pulled up. We're going to come back to it, right? Now let's read these winning points, all right? Here am I. That's what you have to do right now for yourself. I have to read this while you get the socks. So I think it's awesome because Kayaya also, you know, I know you recognize Kayaya that you can hear. Kayaya, I know that you can hear me through the camera. I'm right there. I can see, you can see me. So, baby, just open up the top drawer, get the sock, and don't wake up, Shadaya, but cover your feet. All right. And then let me finish this. We're almost done. All right. Nap time is almost over. All right. So let's scroll down. All right. We're going to go down to this section. All right. So now look, we're in the section which is called music, right? So I should be studying this section. You know, again, if you're a musician, if you're in Yasharala, you know what I'm saying, or if you're in the world, study this section of music. All right. See what else you learn, the parts of music, etc. Right. So let's read on down. All right. Now we have, here's our section, astronomy. Now look at this real quick. Now, if I made this up, then y'all rebuke me. If I didn't make it up, then it has validation, which means some people just have to correct their teaching. They just have to correct their doctrine. All right. And I'm here to help bring resolve, not to tear things down. Right. So if you don't like me, that's cool. But, you know what I'm saying? At the same time, it's not about, you know, if you like me, but it's what I'm saying or not true. Is it true or not? Right. So watch this. So the name astronomy, the astronomy, the astronomy, astronomia is the law or the law of what? The law of the stars, which by investigative reasoning touches the courses of the constellations and the figures and the positions of the stars relative to each other and to the earth. All right. Now, this will open up a lot of interesting conversations because I don't teach that the earth is flat because I don't teach that. All right. And this also opens up a lot of interesting conversation because it also goes into, you know, the constellations and the stars being inside the firmament, which that's not accurate. The firmament is just the atmosphere. All right. The firmament is the atmosphere, the stratosphere, the troposphere, the exosphere, the mesosphere. These are all called the firmament. All right. So, but, you know, everything that you learned in school wasn't a lie. Okay? All right. Watch this. The inventors of astronomy. Now, this is going to segue into New Moon. Okay. All right. So the inventors of astronomy, the Egyptians were the first to discover astronomy. However, the Chaldeans were the first to teach astrology. The observations concerning the the natives, but the author Josephus asserts that Abraham instructed the Egyptians in astrology. The Greeks say, wow, wow, that's wonderful. Wow. This is beautiful. The Greeks say that this art was earlier discovered by Atlas, and that is why it is said that he has held up the sky. Yet, whoever the inventor was, he was stirred up by the movement of the heavens and prompted by the reasoning of his mind, and through the changing of seasons, thought the fixed and defined course of the stars through the measured expanses of their distant parts. He made observations and certain dimensions and numbers, right? Made certain dimensions and numbers. Now, let's go back to this for a quick second. I want you all to read that top line. I really want you to look at that, the part that's highlighted. And as you're looking at it, I want you to pay attention to Abraham, our father. Now, Abraham is so important at this point because we see that Flavius Josephus, Antiquities of the Jews, tells us that Abraham taught the Egyptians astronomy. I teach the same thing. All right, let's get this real quick. Flavius Josephus, Antiquities of the Jews, Abraham and his descent into Egypt. All right. Abraham ancestor, seventh generation, Moses and his Jews. For Abraham brought 100 shekels. Abraham said it happened to Abraham supposed that the fame of his wife's beauty into Egypt. All right. So I'm going to share this page real quick. Ooh, this isn't one that I wanted, but we should be able to find it. All right. So let's go to next chapter. All right. So right here we see that Abraham goes through the famine in Egypt. All right. Having no son. Oh wait, I went backwards. Excuse me, I should have known here. Famine instead invaded the land of Canaan. Let's go over here. All right. And after this, the famine invaded the land of Canaan. All right. When Abraham with calamity was afraid, a lot of kings and Sodomites. Not what I want. It's not what I want. Sodomites were proud. No, we're going too far. We're going too far. All right, we'll back up a little bit. Her calamity was afraid. And after this, the family invaded, supposed pretended. It said with benefits, sending them from this temper. Here we go. Dwight Howard. All right. So check this out. This is what happened when our father Abraham. If you are a Moabite, if you're an Amorite, guess what? You are a descendant of the bloodline of Shem. If you are an Ishmaelite, guess what? You are a descendant of Abraham, of Abram. If you're an Edomite, guess what? You are a descendant of Abram, of Abraham. Abraham's father Isaac, Isaac's father Jacob. Right? So we have Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, we have Esau. So with that being said, so I teach Gentile salvation. It's not fair to not teach it. All right. It's very immature to not teach it. All right. So, what spirituality can men ever get? Only saluting their own nationality, man. You can't grow in that, man. I said, and then, no, it's not accurate. That's not right. So let's see what happened concerning Abraham when Abraham was in Egypt. Watch this. So our grandmother Sarah gets kidnapped. After she gets kidnapped, this is what happens. Then he, out of fear, asked Sarai, Sarah, who she was and who was it that she brought with her. Now, this is the thing that Yashaliam do. We'll be like, hey, that's my sister. She'll be like, that's my brother. They'll be like, that's uncle. That's auntie. That's something that Yashaliam do. It's a lot. All right, Dwight Howard. All right, so let's read on. It says, he then, out of fear, Abimelech salty because he saw we sporting. All right, so Abimelech was salty. He saw Abraham and his ribs sporting. Right, so something going on in his constitution. His family ain't nobody getting pregnant. Nobody's penis is getting hard. People ain't getting moist. Go potty now. Go pee. Then, out of fear, he asked Sarah who she was and who it was that she brought along with her. And when he had found out the truth, he excused himself to Abram, that supposing this woman to be his sister and not his wife, he set his affections on her. So let me say this first. Abimelech was a righteous Gentile. All right. Abimelech did not rape our mother Sarah. Brothers be like, show me the verse where it says righteous Gentile. Show me the verse where it says how to put your sandals on. All right, in the Bible. Show me the verse to where it says, how to tie. Come on, man, stop it. So the man performed a righteous act and he was a goyim. Stop it. I'm not afraid of you Negroes, man. Y'all all that pump faking and smoking, that's so whack. So you do not have permission to do that. Go and lay down. Go in there right now. It's not allowed. Sharp. You don't have to lay down, but you do have to play, Con. All right, it's not time to be right here. And let me see, do you have socks on? You don't have socks on, so therefore your feet are still cold. So that means that you need to go ahead and get in the bed and put the blanket under your feet, okay? All right. And then I'll come in there and help you, but I have to finish my sentence. And after I finish my sentence, I'll get some socks for you. Khan, Kayaya? Kaya, I'm looking right at you through the TV. Kayaya, get up on the bed, get up on the couch. Don't wake up, sir. Khan, what I'm saying, Khan. Put your feet up under the blanket because there was a time frame a little while ago where you had a snotty nose and that didn't feel good. And I was and I had to suck the snot out your nose, and you had to, and that didn't feel good. So we don't want you to get ill again. You can't find your socks right now because you haven't found them. So I'll help you, but you have to shop and keep your feet warm. All right. So let me finish this. So let's finish this, and then we'll get back to it. All right. So boom, we got what? So Shara. So this was a righteous Gentile because even though he was a Hamite, he did not rape our grandmother Shara. He did not force her. He was actually smitten in love with her. He thought she was gorgeous, beautiful. Oh, you said that was your brother. So boom, he excused it. Now watch what happens. He excused himself to our father Abraham, right? He says what? That supposing the woman to be his sister and not his wife. He set his affections on her as desiring an affinity with him by marrying her. I wanted to be your homie. I wanted to be, hey, Abraham, I thought we was going to be friends because you the man. Abraham, you like a king coming from I'm already a king in my land. Your sister fine. You told me she was your sister. She real. You see what I'm saying? So Abimelech was really going through it, right? So, but he says, but not as incited by lust to abuse her. So miss me with that. All right. Some of you got Gentile friends and families and mothers and fathers and whoopty-woo and all that. Stop it. Stop it. I'll pull up to the summit with a bad Gentile. Stop it. And be right outside the summit. Like, so all right. Or introduce them and come right in with a whole fleet of Gentiles, because that's what happened in the book of Acts, chapter 10, all the way through chapter 16. So Abraham, being in the midst of all these Gentiles, being an Israelite man, being a Hebrew man, not an Israelite because he's a father of Israelites, being a Hebrew man, in the midst of all these goyim, he used the spirit of wisdom along with his wife Sarah, who worked with him in honor and integrity. Sister, this is to keep me safe. It ain't to put you out there. Sister, this is to keep me safe. If they know that I'm your husband, they gonna kill me, and you know it. And she like, all right, you my brother. And you know I'm your brother, right? You're my sister. You know I'm sister, right? So they ran their game. Abimelech finds out, supposing so he didn't want to incite her lust about abusing her. But now watch this. This is what Abraham did, and this is how we get into the new moon understanding. Knowing all this stuff goes together, not just knowing the words, knowing how all of this stuff goes together is what helps you, right? And this also helps you to praise the Most High, helps you to praise Yahweh, because you get to find out, like, wow, our forefathers really knew this, and then new moon is a real thing, and etc. So just little by little, right? He also made him a large present. So Abimelech made our father Abraham a large present. In what? In money. So because of our grandmother, here, because of your wife's beauty, you know what I'm saying, greatly taught to make up, man, here, take all of this bread. That's like my rib and I, we go to the bar and somebody buy my rib a drink. What you think? I'm be like, sucker, don't you be spending no money on my woman? Nah, you bought my rib a drink and my rib bring the drink to me? Man, hey, get the all praise. All right, now. I want you to put some socks on your feet and stop coming in here. I'm going to pour some out for the Most High. Here go my 10% for the Most High. All right, so if it was a $200 bottle of drink, guess what? I'm taking 20 out of that. No, I'm pouring that 20 out. If it was 800, I'm taking 80 out. So the Most High, he teaches us these principles. Our fathers, our foremothers, we operate together with wisdom. Abraham was blessed also in shekels, keeping in mind he was already a rich kid. All right. He was blessed in shekels because of his ribs. So I don't know what's wrong with you weirdos. Like, I'm sorry, I should have said. I don't know what's wrong. There are certain people that don't think that it's okay for their wives to have a large dowry. It's okay for your wife to have a large dowry. But if she does, you're supposed to count her large dowry as if it's nothing. If she submits, she's supposed to submit herself in love and chastity. And then, if she has no dowry, then you count her purity to you as great value. All right. So Abraham was received a dowry from his rib, from her virtue. And I honor that. I don't know what's wrong with some of you guys. That's Proverbs chapter 31. I love my ribs. I love my sisters. I love my aunties and my mom. I love the sisters that actually give and pay and bring away back even more so, especially to the struggle and to the ministry. So he gave a large present in money and gave him leave. So he gave Abraham permission to enter into conversation with the most learned amongst the Egyptians, from which conversation his, Abraham's virtue, and his reputation became more conspicuous than it had been before. They was like, oh, son, yo, you like the man. Oh, we ain't know. You was like, you, wow. I haven't even gotten to it yet, but there's because we're doing constellations, right? Egyptian god Thoth. And forgive me, you know what I'm saying, for the script says to learn, not learn their ways, their names, but there's no but to it. I want to show you something, this image right here, Thoth. You might have heard the name, you might have seen the image. and you might not have put 2 and 4 together. There are some specific things that come along with symbolism and iconoclasm that show you what is who and who is what. Thoth was known to be, and forgive me, I'm no Egyptologist scribe. I ain't nosy, but I know what I know. All right. So what he had to do was to deal with wisdom and cultivation of knowledge. Now it's a lot deeper than that, because you see this in the constellations and the stars, etc. It's often myth and thought that it's often thought and myth that Moses. So I'm not going to teach no doctrines. I'm going to leave that right there, and I'll leave it to you for you all to see. Watch this. For whereas the Egyptians were formerly addicted to different customs and despised, you see this? The Egyptians argued with one another sacred and the customs rights. So one of them believed in the, you know what I'm saying? So this is something you have to know. The Egyptian pantheon, the Egyptian god pantheon is the name of it, right? So while they argued with each other back and forth, you know what I'm saying? Okay, here I come. Here am I. All right. La. It's cold in here. Don't come in here. La. You wait on Abba. So while one of them maybe had worship, this specific one, Osiris, Isis, Set, Anubis, Anukit, you know what I'm saying? Each one in their own specific rights. Thoth, so-called, arbitrator, writing, magic, science, judgment of the dead. I took a look into the Thoth science, and the Thoth science really goes into Trismos Megistus and even back to Abraham. And it blew my mind. There's nothing new under the sun. Look at what Abraham did. For whereas the Egyptians were formerly addicted to different customs and despised one another sacred and the customs right, and were very angry with one another on that account, Abram conferred with each other. Abram conferred with each of them, and confuting the reasonings they made use of, every one of their own practices demonstrated that such reasonings were vain and void of truth, wherein he was admired by them in those conferences as a very wise man and one of great sagacity, when he discoursed on any subject he undertook. And this not only in understanding, but in persuading other men also to assent to him. He communicating to them, look at this, arithmetic, and delivered them the science of astronomy. I think Thoth was Abraham. That's my thought. For Abraham came into Egypt, before Abraham came into Egypt, they were unacquainted with those parts of learning. They were unacquainted. The Egyptians, don't give so much glory and credit to Egypt. It came from the knowledge that the Most High gave to Abraham. Abraham being a Chaldean. You better call yourself something better, Israel. For before Abraham came into Egypt, they were unacquainted with those parts of learning, for that science came from the Chaldeans into Egypt, and from thence to the Greeks also. I would love to share so much more with you, and I believe that that's all I can do at this time. At the same time, if anybody would like to know more, please hit me up. I love studying the subject on astronomy, science of the stars, X, Y, and Z. And then you can learn it too. Super easy, barely inconvenience. Ani Abukam, Shalom. Kadash Shalom. All right, enjoy your time. Shalom.